Welcome back to the Three Amigos. I don't know if we should introduce ourselves before or after I say what we're doing today.
Before.
Okay, let's try that again.
Okay.
Welcome back to the Three Amigos. I'm Rita.
I'm Chloe.
I'm Tim.
And today we are going to review / discuss Grey's Anatomy. More specifically, the season 6 finale, which is called Sanctuary. And what's the other name? Fuck.
Death and all his
All
friends.
his friends.
Yes. Thank you guys. You guys are the best. So this is like the best show in the world. And that's it. That's the episode. Goodbye, everyone.
So Rita has watched this before plenty of times.
115 times.
Me and Tim haven't.
It's our first time watching
Yeah,
it.
it's our first time. And I've never watched any other episode, so this is like the first episode I've ever watched, and it's the season 6 finale.
Disgraceful.
Yeah,
How could you not watch this before?
I want to.
That's the most seeing it. I was like straight into it, and like within the first few scenes, I was like, "Whoa, this is good."
Right?
Why haven't I seen this? Why haven't I seen this before?
Right? It's amazing.
It's really good, but obviously I'm going to say there's a trigger warning for like certain things.
Yes. If you don't do well with death and blood
and violence
and violence and stressful situations,
yeah,
I wouldn't suggest Grey's Anatomy as a whole, not just this episode.
Yeah.
Whereas
as
I
a
don't
whole.
do that very well, so I struggle. I mean, this is a really good show and episode, but I struggle to.
Yeah, it's tough. Maybe if you ease in. I mean, the first season doesn't have anything crazy happening.
I think
maybe that might be easier.
It was a shock. It was just like full on into this storyline, and I was like, "Wait, what?" I didn't really know the characters.
Yeah,
so
no,
me
as well.
Yeah, like I've seen some of the characters' names. I've seen like clips and memes and stuff, and Rita obviously spoke about it a lot. So I knew some of the characters' names, but like some people, I was like, "Wait, what is happening? What is going on?" And I think that, along with like what is in the storyline, you're like, "What is going on?" Like it's a bit of a whirlwind.
Yeah,
but it's very good. It's a very good show.
Yeah.
So for a bit of context, so Grey's Anatomy started in 2004, I think, if I'm correct, and this would have come out in like 2010, something like that. So 11 years ago.
Wow.
That's quite a long time.
It's quite a long time ago.
2010 was the air date. Yeah. Literally next month on the 20th was the air date.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It didn't it felt really modern as well, to be fair.
I thought it was like 2014, 2015. That's what I was getting from it.
10 years ago.
10 years ago, yeah.
That's really good.
Grey's Anatomy has 17 seasons.
Cool.
17. That's a lot.
17. That is a lot.
Yeah. The quality hasn't maintained. It definitely did. I mean, at least that's what I think. But definitely declined over time. But season 6, I think season 6 finale, it's probably the best one. I would think. Yeah. I would say. Probably the best one. Are you okay if I spoil everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should. You should enlighten us with spoilers.
So in season 1, the finale is that, like, the last scene that we get is the reveal that Derek has been married the whole time. He's been dating Meredith.
Oh.
So season 1 is only 9 episodes. So season 1 ends with Addison Montgomery. She doesn't show up in this episode. Like to reveal, like, you're the woman who's been sleeping with my husband. That's how that season ends. It's pretty good. It's like, holy shit. And then season 2 is the ferry boat accident, I believe. That was okay. Not great. Season 3 finale, that's also a good one. It's with Christina being left at the altar by Burke, which he left the series after that. So that's also a good one. Season 4... What's the season 4 finale? I don't remember.
I have no idea.
So as you can see, it's not that great. And then season 5 is with Izzy almost dying. She's almost also left the series. She left in season 6, halfway. But she almost died from cancer. And George O'Malley, he actually died. He was ran over by a bus. And then season 7... what's season 7? Oh yeah, Meredith messes up an Alzheimer's trial. And in season 8, there's a plane crash. And in season 9, there's like a storm and a bus crash. And season 10, there's like, they suspect it's a terrorist attack, but actually isn't, and Christina leaves. So it's just tragedies on top of tragedies. Oh. It's amazing. So, okay. Right. So Meredith has survived
it's a bit like bomb. Casualty, really, isn't it?
It's
Have you ever seen that?
Sorry? Which one?
I'll say it feels a bit like Casualty, which is the BBC equivalent of it.
I mean, probably. I haven't seen that one, but
like most witches, like an explosion, or you know, like someone gets like attacked by like a train accident or stuff like that. It's
right. So Meredith,
recurring theme.
Yeah. So Meredith, she's been near a bomb in the body. She held a bomb in the body so it wouldn't explode and she wouldn't die. Oh. And after finally they took out the bomb out of the body, the bomb squad guy like exploded right in front of her.
Oh,
she then almost drowned. She had her appendix burst, so she had to get surgery for that. Then the shooting happened where she told the spoiler alert, she told the guy to shoot her, and she had a miscarriage on that episode as well.
Yeah, that was sad. I didn't like that.
Yeah. She then on season 8 was on a plane crash where her sister died and everyone almost died. And then on season 11 or season 12, I think she was attacked by a patient. She was attacked by a patient. And it's just like, that doesn't happen to one person, usually.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. Like, everyone dies. So many people have died.
Everyone dies, basically.
Right, yeah. So, like Mark Sloan is dead, Lexi is dead, Derek is dead.
I don't know who any of these people are, but, you know.
Okay, so Lexi, she's the blonde.
The page right now.
What?
The meme I sent that I watched Grey's and I watched Grey's Starter Pack.
Oh yeah, just crying. Yeah, but that's basically
everyone's dead and tissues.
Everyone's dead. As Christina once called it, Seattle Grey's mercy death. It's crazy. Should we get on to the actual episode? Otherwise, I'll just ramble on about stuff that happened in Grey's Anatomy. Sure, shall we? What did you guys think of the monologue?
Powerful.
Yeah.
She's saying like how she, like, most people think of hospitals as like scary and stuff, which is true.
Yeah.
Yet she's like, I grew up here. This is she loved it here. She says she loves it here and all this stuff. And then like she's got a pregnancy test and stuff.
Yeah.
And then like it says correction, loved it here, as the man walks past her, who then turns out to be the shooter, which is like, oh, because straight away I was like, okay, something bad's gonna happen because you said loved it here. So either she dies or she's gonna move on from it or whatever. And I thought, well, if she loves it, she's gonna end up dying because there's no way she'd quit. So it's something about dying, and I was like, oh no. But obviously she doesn't look,
Yeah, so the person doing the monologue was Meredith Grey.
Yeah.
AKA Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of like the monologue? Because there's one monologue in every episode. Every single episode. Do you think you guys would like that? Or would get annoying? Because I love it. Cool. It's iconic.
I thought it was really cool.
Like the slow moving cameras as well was like quite powerful.
Yeah. So like the whole monologue is like setting up quite a few things. Mainly they're like
quite the bit where you got Meredith walking past and you got Gary Clark walking the other way, and the eye contact is just at the time you didn't think anything of it, but when you watch the episode you realise who he was and what actually happened. So it's quite powerful.
Yeah.
It's quite like disturbing as well.
It is.
Yeah.
So to give you guys a rundown, the people, Alexi and Alex, are the couple in the call room in the bed.
Yeah.
She's dead. He left the show.
Yeah.
Jackson is a guy on the phone in the ER. Richard Weber, he's the guy with the at the coffee shop with the AA chip. He's an alcoholic. Not anymore, but... And then the girls having breakfast and crying, that's Christina and that's Kelly.
Yeah.
And then Meredith passes Reed on the way to the toilet, or out of the toilet. She dies, and and then when she's in the locker room, April and Charles, she's waiting for April and Charles to leave. Charles is dead. April left the show. So like nobody's like...
Everyone's dead.
If you look at the first episode of Grey's Anatomy, of all of the cast, only like 3 people are currently still in the show.
Wow.
It's kind of crazy.
That's great. That is crazy. That's really weird.
Yeah. So after
it's like a lot of shows do that, where obviously they like have a lot of seasons, like House, and there's other like kind of shows like Scrubs and stuff. And obviously they in Casualty, extend like everyone comes and goes, like different characters. But it's kind of crazy. Like it's like Game of Thrones. As soon as they start killing off all the favorites, then either like you get like the loyal fans who continue to watch, or their fans then like leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's always... I always think it's weird when I know they have to do it and like people leave and stuff, but sometimes I'm like, when I get invested in a show, like I'm so gutted if like say my favorite left.
Yeah.
I'd be like, no, I don't want this to happen.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
So it's kind of cool that they still... Yeah. Sorry, Tim.
So a good example is like Modern Family. They have kept the original cast, and you see them all grow up, and it's...
Yeah.
It's
that's what makes a show.
Yeah.
I like both, but it's good.
I mean, Grey's Anatomy was apparently a mess, like behind the scenes.
Was it?
Apparently, yes.
Oh no.
But yeah. So after Meredith ends the monologue, we cut to her telling Christina that she's pregnant.
Yeah, I like that bit.
And I like that Christina was like, she wasn't immediately happy about it. She like, are we happy about it?
Yeah.
Because, pregnancy isn't always a happy thing for everyone.
Yeah, she was like, do we like this or do we not like this? She's like, okay, we like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like Meredith, like, yeah, we're happy about it. And then they both get paged. And Meredith goes to go meet Derek. And Christina goes to the ER, I think. And then we see Gary Clark walk into the ER, where he asks Alex where the chief of surgery is.
Yeah.
And Alex is like, fuck off. Do you guys know who the chief of surgery is?
No.
Tim?
I'm gonna have a punt and say it's... I don't know.
It's Derek.
Owen Hunt, is it? Derek.
It's Derek.
Oh, okay.
It's Derek Shepherd. So if you knew who these people are, immediately you'd be a bit weirded out. Like, why does he want to talk to Derek? Because Gary Clark, his wife. So the way we've met, if you watch the show, you would have met Gary Clark a few episodes back when his wife had a stroke after a surgery.
Oh, so he's not like a random guy.
No, so he's not like a random guy. So his wife had a surgery and she had a stroke afterwards. And she was basically brain dead. And she didn't want any extraordinary measures or anything. So the people, her doctors, which were Derek Shepherd, chief of surgery, Richard Weber, and Lexi Gray, they made a decision to turn off her life support. Meaning, and she died then, and he was very upset about it. So he's not just a random dude like shooting up the hospital.
Yeah. Okay.
So he's trying to get his own back for the doctors killing his wife, essentially.
Yeah. So he's basically like
grieving. Whereas it's kind of cool that you say that now, because before I was just like, oh, he's a random guy.
Yeah.
So it gives him some context behind him. That's good. See, this is why it's good to talk to it. Like, obviously, normally you watch a show like episode 1, 2, 3, 4, where we do these episodes like on the podcast where we watch it randomly. I get so confused. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
That's all I wrote down in my notes is I am confused and also worried.
You're very confused.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like the first few minutes is just setting up where people would be in this case. Yeah. So then we have Ruby, which is a kid with appendicitis that has her doctor is Arizona Robbins.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, it's going to be easy, whatever. And they take her up to Pete's surgery, to Pete's floor. And Callie Torres, who also has a kid as a patient, so she would also be the Pete's floor. And that's important because they've just broken up. They're just broken up. And so they'd have to be like, get stuck together. So that's important setup. And then we also have Owen with Teddy. They also got paged to the ER. And Christina also gets paged for the same patient. That's important because Owen used to date Christina. But Teddy and Owen, they were in the military together, and Teddy's been in love with Owen for like 15 years.
Oh, and this is a lot of backstory sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're both mad at Owen because he can't choose if he wants to be with Teddy or if he wants to be with Christina. And Christina was like, she told Owen to choose Teddy because she didn't want Teddy to leave because Teddy's a really good teacher to her. It's messy. It's very messy.
It sounds like they're a very happy family with each other.
Yeah, it sounds really confusing.
Yeah, and Teddy's also mad at Owen because he told Derek to fire her. It's very complicated.
I love this show. Complicated, to be fair.
I love this show. Later on, they do get together like 15 years later. Owen and Teddy get together and have a kid. And then she cheats on him. It's complicated. Anyway,
carrying on with this episode.
So then we cut to Bailey, Miranda Bailey. She's a short woman. And Charles, who have a patient, Mary, who marries Mandy Moore. She's a famous actress, apparently. So I've been told. I don't know. And her surgery was postponed because she needs a blood transfusion. And her husband leaves to get her some food. So they're stuck together. Bailey, Charles, and Mary afterwards. And then we get the first gun victim, which was a guy.
No, it was a girl.
No, so like, see, this is set up. So like the first victim comes into the yard because like some guy crashed into his car. And when he got out to like ask for insurance, he just shot him.
Yeah. Sorry. At first I was like, oh, he's just been shot down. But then I twigged after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like that's so good because like immediately because gunshot wounds, like, that's an ER, it's a hospital. You wouldn't think anything of it.
No, you don't.
Until Gary Clark shoots Reed in the supply closet.
The medical storeroom, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a supply closet.
Yeah.
Thing. Until he shoots her, and then like you connect the dots. The show is amazing. It's so good. So Gary enters the ER again. He asks Tyler's the nurse, about the chief again, and then he just walks into a supply closet where Reed is grabbing shit. And she's a bit of an asshole. She's been the whole season. And so it's like, can you help me?
And
madam.
She's like, I'm not a tour guide.
Yeah, it's like, I'm a doctor, but what? And it's like, where do I find Dr. Shepard? And she like, I don't know. And she goes to leave. And leave, and he asks her again and grabs like, go find a nurse or whatever. And she just shoots him.
Oh.
Like, I'm not a tour guy, I'm a surgeon. He just shoots him.
It was really not nice to see that though.
That was like, okay.
It's brutal.
Putting myself on the shoes of somebody who hasn't seen this before. That would have come out of like nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's like gruesome. I don't think up till then, because like Grey's Anatomy, we've had like bombs in body cavities, and Meredith like drowned, and a bunch of people had cancer and stuff. But I don't think we ever seen like somebody just like shoot somebody in the head like point blank.
Yeah.
It was like holy shit. I don't think anyone saw that coming. It was so brutal.
I didn't see that coming.
It was crazy. And when she falls down, and blood starts spreading. Then Alex heard the gunshot and like comes like up to the doorway and is like, what the fuck? And Gary just shoots him in the chest. It was like it's like so quick as well. It's like Gary shots Reed, and you think, oh my god, what the hell? And they barely even give you like a time to like understand what the fuck is going on before he shoots Alex as well.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's insane. I love this show so much. I've watched this episode so many times. It's great. I love it. It's great.
It was really good. As someone who hasn't watched it, like I said, it was really good.
Yeah.
But like again, it was very shocking.
It's very gory. I think this is like one of the goriest.
There's
episodes.
A lot. Like when he starts to shoot, he just starts to go like bang, bang, bang. Like with no remorse. Like it's so cold.
Yeah.
And you're like, what is going on? Like it's really like what? And I guess like because I didn't really know the backstory, I felt bad. I didn't even know the characters, so I don't know if the characters are good or bad. But I had like remorse for them. Like I was like, what is going on? Like what? Is it remorse? Like where you feel really bad.
Empathy.
Like you're like, what? Empathy. Yeah. I was like, and even though I didn't know the show and I wasn't like a big fan of the characters, I was like, oh god, so, like they're being just killed off one by one, and it was really tense. And then like I kind of clicked then because when he was like looking for him, and then Meredith has gone into her husband's office.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I was like, oh no, something bad's gonna happen, and
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, as soon as the shooting started, I was like, okay, like I thought Meredith was gonna die. I was like, okay, she's gonna be shot. That's why she said, I used to love working here.
Yeah, the hospital.
And I was like, oh no, and I didn't, and because she's pregnant, I was like, oh no, and this just,
yeah,
and then, yeah.
It's like it's like a contrast because like she goes into Derek's office super happy about being pregnant, and it's like she's going to tell him later, and like flirting with him, and like and then otherwise like the other people have just been shot,
they're like dying,
and then like dying,
and like the bit where Christina gets in the lift with him, and the tent was just I can't cope because
that was crazy.
Like she's in the lift and he's there, and I was like, oh no, he's gonna shoot her. And she looks like sad and down, and she's like not really with it. And he's like asking her, and she's like, just go here. This is how you get there. And then he's like, he's looking at her, and I'm like, is he gonna shoot her? Is he gonna shoot her? Even though she's telling him, and then he walks away. But he's like turns around and is like, "Have a nice day," or something. She's like, "You too." I was like, "No, like
it's crazy."
Oh, I just didn't like it.
Like I've seen that again. I've seen it so many times, and it still works every time.
Yeah,
it's done so well. It's great.
It was weird.
Yeah. So Alex drags himself into a elevator. Meredith goes into Derek's office. And one thing, like when they're bantering and like flirting, Derek says like he'd get injured to see the inside of an OR because he hasn't operated in so long.
Yeah.
And then he ends up getting injured and seeing the inside of an OR.
Yeah.
That was the thing. So then we cut to April. She's writing her notebook.
Yeah.
That notebook is very prominent in that season. It then disappears afterwards and we never see it again. But she walks into the supply closet and she trips over something and falls on her face. And like when she gets up, she's like full of blood everywhere. And then she looks behind her and it's Reed's dead body. Can you imagine?
That would be horrible.
Like holy shit.
I can't imagine. It messed her up as well.
It did. It was like it's so crazy. Like, and then having to walk, she then walks toward to Derek's office, like completely covered in her friend's blood. It's insane. Yeah. I mean, I can't even imagine that would be like. I mean, Jesus Christ. I love this show so much. Anyway. So April goes into Derek's office and she like rambling and clearly in shock until Derek like grabs her and like, what happened? And she says, Rita's dead. Someone shot her. Yeah. And he goes into like full chief mode, but it's like protocols and shit.
Yeah.
After that, that's when we see the Christina scene, which is great. And then he's on the phone. Derek's on the phone with the head of hospital security. And it's like, what do you mean you don't know what you're supposed to do? Which is like, yeah, you're the head of security. How do you not know what you're supposed to do? Somebody just comes in and shoots somebody.
Yeah, it's a bit useless, really.
Yeah, it's your job to know stuff like this. Also, you're in America.
I was not going to say that. You're in America. You should be prepared for this.
Yeah. Another thing, like, everyone that talks now, like, show's getting too political or whatever, which is stupid, because art has been political since art began. But, like, Grey's towards, like, the last seasons, they've been very, obviously political about it. Like, very in your face, which doesn't always work out. Although I can commend them for doing stuff. But, like, they clearly have commentary about how easy it is to get guns in America in here.
Yeah.
Because, like, he mentioned, like, I went to a grocery store and I got guns and they were on sale and stuff. Like, there's clearly commentary.
It's so easy just to get a gun.
Yeah. But it's so well done, like, nobody thinks of this as, like, a political episode. When it has political commentary. I think that's kind of cool. But anyway. So the hospital goes into lockdown, which means we should know because we've been in lockdown for 15 years now.
Yeah.
You're not you're supposed to stay where you are.
Yeah.
And not leave.
Don't leave.
Yeah. Just stay where you are and don't leave and then don't walk around.
Yeah.
For no reason. Which is what Meredith and Christina do. They just walk around.
Yeah.
Which that's so in character. Like you guys don't know, but that's like so in character for them.
Yeah, like it feels. I've seen a meme like when it's like with you and your work best friend, and it's like the sort of thing they do. They just kind of ignore everyone and do their own thing.
Yeah, like everyone's like, oh look, I was like, code whatever. We need to stay here. We can't leave. And they're just walking around. It's like, it's probably a drill. Yeah. Who cares? What's gonna happen anyway? People's gonna shoot the hospital.
It was all a drill?
Sorry?
Why did they think it was all a drill and they're like taking it so casually?
Because they're crazy.
Yeah.
They're very like I don't know, aloof when it comes to like tragedies. And they're like, we don't leave the hospital anyway, because they're always working. So they just walk around, even though clearly it's empty. The hospital's like looks empty, like no one's walking around except them. But still think it's fine. They're kind of dorks. They're huge dorks.
Huge dorks.
So Derek also leaves his office. Until like April's like, we're in lockdown. You're supposed to say we are. Like, I'm the chief.
I feel really bad for April though, because she panics. Like she's like, I've done it with the farm and stuff, but she just couldn't cope.
Yeah, she was in shock.
Yeah,
she was in shock.
Yeah, she was.
And the thing she was doing, like talking about the farm, that comes back later at the end of the episode.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So like everything's there for a reason. There's like there's nothing. There's like nothing. Just like a throwaway line or whatever.
Like you said about the end of the episode as well. Obviously, like when she does, I think it's the second episode, possibly.
Yes.
Like the second part, and she's like talking. She's talking about and trying to give herself like a human element.
Yeah.
She's like trying to explain to the shooter she's a person, because
they
often say like a lot of them do, like obviously they've not just gone into this lightly. They've probably like researched shootings and stuff. And obviously it does happen a lot in America, which is really unfortunate and sad.
Yeah.
But like some of the victims or like the survivors have said like we tried to show them with a person, like they list off things like I haven't been. She's like I'm young. I've got a family. I'm a daughter.
I haven't lived yet.
I haven't lived yet. I'm a person. She kept saying I'm a person, trying to get through to him. Like if you shoot me now, you're killing someone who's got like a family and all this stuff. It's not just a quick,
I'm not just some stranger.
And he then goes run because it kind of registered with him, and I was like, even that was like, wow, like it's such a hard hitting episode.
And then afterwards, she says like she saw that. I think it was on Oprah that she said she saw it.
Yeah,
like we were supposed to tell like a shooter like something about yourself so they can like relate to you, which again shows how common it is for Oprah to be talking about it.
It's really weird. It's a weird thing.
It's such a weird thing. And so Derek,
I think it's like you only understand if you're living in America itself.
Yeah, I guess, cause like we don't like if can you imagine going to Tesco, and next to drinks is just a whole gun aisle, like full of ammo and different guns, and some of them are on sale. That would be so weird.
One thing I saw was, I don't know how true it was, there was a picture on Twitter a few years ago in Walmart. It was like back to school. Underneath it had like guns, ammo, and knives. In the back to school section. I just thought.
To be fair, there was probably like somebody who moved stuff around to take that picture.
Yeah.
But like I'm pretty sure like in Walmart, I think you can like just go buy guns if you're in the US, which is seems crazy to me. Like
it is crazy.
Yeah.
Like in the UK, we have a lot of like knife crime and whatever, and you cannot go to like Tesco and buy a knife which you use for cooking and shit without like being ID'd and somebody having, if you like you're on self-checkout, they have to come over, look at your ID and stuff like that. So like to just be easy to buy a gun seems so crazy. I don't understand. It's insane. It really is. Anyway, going back to this amazing episode that I love. So we see the police cars starting to arrive when they pass by Richard in the cafe. We see people getting into lockdown. Callie in Arizona going into lockdown in the peds floor. Bailey just like stays in her patient's room until like the patient's like, you're being weird, and then like she tells her like I can't really leave. There's like Teddy and Owen's patient, they're like in the UR until Derek like comes over into the UR and tells Jackson like after the surgery is done, tell them not to leave because they can't leave. There's a shooter in the hospital. That's a fun secret to keep. And then we find then like Meredith and Christina are just charting in the gurney in the hallway because they don't care about the lockdown because they're crazy people. And Christina asks if Derek cried like a little bitch baby. She told him she was pregnant. And Meredith's like, yeah, I haven't told him now. So she said, okay,
Meredith
let's
cries
go.
a lot as well.
Yeah. So like Christina's like, let's go tell Derek because I want to see him cry like a bitch. Christina's a savage.
Yeah, she's really funny.
I like her. She's my favourite character, I think.
She's a good actress as well.
Sandra is a great actress. She's really good. So then we go to the next scene where Gary Clark actually kills people. They're in the lobby, and Lexi and Mark like signing documents. And Gary goes to leave the area, and a nurse Vivian, she yells at him, and he just shoots her. And Mark just like dives towards Lexi into the floor. And then when they go to leave the area, they go to the elevator, and when the doors open, Alex is like just bleeding in the floor. Which again, holy shit. I love this show so much. So Alex is dying. Reed is dead. And the police are outside the hospital, and they're not evacuating people, which kind of seems crazy, but whatever. And what's next? Who does he kill next? Oh, right. So after he kills the nurse, Gary goes to another floor where Bailey is, and she's on with a patient, and then Charles comes busting into the room saying there's a shooter, and he's just shooting up the hospital. And of course, they hide, and the shooter just happens to go into the room, and he hears Charles in the bathroom or whatever, and he goes in and asks him, "Are you a surgeon?" And when Charles says yes, he shoots him. And then Gary Clark pulls Bailey from under the bed and asks her the same question. Are you a nurse? And she said, are you a surgeon? And she says, no, I'm a nurse. And then he leaves the room. That was also like super tense. Cause like you don't see him shoot Charles. That whole scene is from like the point of view of Bailey, who's hiding underneath the bed. So that's also super tense, and I love it. What do you guys think?
It's just really scary. I don't know, like when it all breaks out and stuff, it just really freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's good, but like I said, I was quite nervous watching it.
Yeah. It's a nerve-wracking episode.
Yeah, like obviously I was just like watching it, and the whole time I was like, what? Like my heart was like beating really fast.
Yeah, it's like filled with tense moments.
Yeah, and it's just like I think they handled it really well, but I don't know, with everything going on, it just feels like crazy. That's all I think. Like to me, watching it for the first time, I was like, "What is going on?"
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I was just like, "What?" Like I can't really describe it because I was just basically shocked.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's not the sort of thing I normally watch, so I think for me it was just very out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
But like, yeah. I remember watching it like, what is going on? What is happening? Why is all of this going on? You know.
For me, I was glued to it. I was gonna watch the first episode, then watch the second episode later on. I ended up watching them back to back. I just didn't leave my desk. I was just glued to my computer watching it.
See, I didn't do that. I had to have a break. Like I was like, no, that was a bit like hard hitting for me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so I had like a break for a few days. And then I was like, when I watched it, the second one again, like so I watched the second one. I was like, oh yeah, it was quite like hard to watch. And I have to admit, for the podcast, I didn't watch like the last part because, for me personally, it got too much, like what was going on. But I obviously researched into the end.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like, it's quite good in a way that a TV show can. It sounds really stupid, but like it can make you have those emotions.
Yeah.
Like obviously it's not good because I couldn't get through the episode, but like it was good because it made me feel something. Like it wasn't just like it wasn't just like them taking something that's quite serious and then like doing it. They actually like like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Yeah.
Like Grey's Anatomy has become like a bit of a meme for like being a long running show that's kind of crap now, but like at their peak, they were really good. Like the writing was really good.
Yeah.
Like
you can't say like I know it's a meme and stuff, but like watching that episode, it makes you realize that it's not a meme kind of a show. It's like actually quite serious and hard hitting. And I didn't know anything about it. I thought it was just like when not like the other hospital shows where like someone's like broke their arm or some like underlying romance going on. But it was just such a serious. I know that it probably has those episodes. But like it's such a serious one to watch. So I'm really glad you said to watch those episodes.
And even even there's still kind of romance subplots in this.
Yeah.
Episodes are just not the focus, or they're there to create tension.
Yeah.
So after Charles got shot, we cut to Arizona and Cali. They're like putting the kids all together, and then they have a fight about them breaking up because Arizona's a bit of biphobe in this, but whatever. It's fine. It's not fine. Biphobia is not fine. Until one of the interns comes over. Like, this is so funny. The intern comes over to tell them that the appendix has burst, so they have to operate. But the way she does it, she makes like the explosion gesture.
Yeah.
It's like so funny and weird. And I know it's like not to tell like the kids, so not to scare her.
Yeah.
But that was so stupid. And I love it. And it's amazing. And I love the show. Have I mentioned that I love the show?
You've mentioned a lot that you love.
You mentioned a lot, yeah.
Have I? I don't know. Are you sure?
Yeah.
So they have to deal with the appendix, and then Teddy and Owen, they finish operating and they leave because they can't leave the patient just on the OR, otherwise he'll die, even though they're not supposed to leave. So they leave by at least trying to stop Charles' gunshot wound by applying pressure and shit, until she's crying into the wound and doesn't realize that the water that's coming into the wound are her tears, which is sad. And then Meredith and Christina, they've been hiding in the closet because Eric's like, just stay there, please. They've been hiding in the closet until Christina sees Gary Clark coming over. And she sees the gun in his hands.
Yeah.
And she tells them to hide and to duck down. And then she tells Meredith that he's the guy in the elevator that asked her directions to Derek's office.
Yeah, and then she's like, I think that bit was horrible because she realized she kind of led him to him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And then Meredith just immediately throws up. Also, because morning sickness / she's sick to her stomach, quite literally. Yeah. So then we reach the kind of the big climax of the episode, which is Derek is going towards his office.
And it's over the catwalk area.
Yeah, it's a catwalk, yeah. And Gary appears behind him. And with his gun in his jacket. And then there's you shouldn't be here. Yeah, it's not safe. And Gary's like, I know the hospital isn't safe. That's the point. And he's like, you don't recognize me, do you? And then Derek recognizes him as Mr. Clark, who's the husband of the woman who died.
Yeah. I feel like because Derek was like, oh, we need to go somewhere because I don't want you to get hurt.
Yeah.
And then obviously Gary's like, no, and then like reveals his gun, and I was like, no.
Yeah. It says like, you hurt me when you decided to kill my wife.
Yeah.
And then takes out his gun and points it at Derek.
Yeah.
And then we have like some cuts to the other patients, like Lexi and Mark. They're giving a blood transfusion to Alex. And Lexi has to leave to go get supplies, so that's set up for the next episode. Christina and Meredith, like, they leave the closet and they go to the towards the catwalk, and they see Derek being held at gunpoint, and like Christina holds back Meredith.
Yeah.
And like Bailey places like oxygen mask over Charles, and like he's dying, and she's like, no, you're not dying. And then we come back to like Derek trying to talk to Gary, and Gary's like, I don't want to talk. Like, he's the man. Do you like his speech about being he's the man? He promised his wife he would be, and a man looks after his wife, which I think it's so sad. Because one is like, well, it's one society pressures on him to be what a man in quotes is supposed to be. But like the whole thing, like, he's supposed to be like protecting his wife and taking care of her. And in his mind, because he let them unplug her because she was brain dead, he failed her. And the way to make it right is to kill the people who killed her, basically.
Yeah.
That's really sad in a way.
It is really sad.
So, like, Derek continues to talk to him. And, like, you can see Derek starting to get him. Because, like, he starts to lower his gun. And then, of course, April comes out of his office running towards Derek. And Gary just shoots Derek.
Yeah.
And we see him just fall to the ground, and Meredith, like, screaming. And that's the end of the first episode. Derek on the floor, dying, with Christina holding back Meredith, screaming.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
It's really sad.
Yeah. The good thing is, you don't have to wait a week for the next episode. Because they came out on the same day.
I can imagine at the time that was really tough.
No, it wasn't. It was a 2-hour finale, so they came out on the same day.
Oh, okay. So that's
it was
not
like
too
back
bad,
to
then.
back. Yeah.
I was gonna say that was.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, no, that would be really bad, actually.
I remember when season 8 ended with the plane crash, without us knowing. So we had like to wait like 6 months to find out if they lived or not.
6 months.
Yeah, because it's a finale. They just ended them with like the plane crash and everyone screaming and dying, and that was it. It's like, what? Excuse me? Wait, come back. What? Come back, please.
I don't like, it's like Sherlock all over again, where you have like a 2-year hiatus between season 2 and 3, and everyone's like, what?
Well, at least in this one, there's no queer baiting.
Oh yeah, that's very true as well. But
in this one, you actually have representation.
We like to see it. We like to see it.
So we start the next episode, of course, with a monologue. Although this time is by Derek, and usually it's always Meredith. It's very rare that Meredith doesn't do the monologue. But I'm guessing since he's dying, they let him do the monologue.
Yeah.
And it's basically about choices in life.
Which is fitting.
Yeah. To live or to die. You know, a hero or coward. You know, live or die, that's the important choice. And it's not always in our hands. So Derek's like, I'm dying, I'm going to be all deep about it.
Yeah.
So this whole the second episode's all about see if we can save Derek's life. See who's going to die. And it's just finishing the plot. They could have left everything open for the season 7, but they really do close the the whole series. Like, if that was the end of the series, technically, it would have been fine. So Derek's dying. Christina is holding back Meredith. And Gary has a gun at April. And then that's when April starts giving facts about her life. How she grew up on a farm and everything. And Gary's like, okay, you can go. Just run. And Derek's like panting on the floor. And Gary points the gun at him again. And then we see the SWAT team coming through the entrance. And
outside,
outside. And that's why he leaves and doesn't shoot Derek again.
Yeah.
Because, like, until then, like, oh my god, he's going to shoot again. Holy shit. And then they see the SWAT team, which is like, finally, where have you been?
Yeah, like, took them so long to turn up, sort of thing.
I guess not just turn up, it's like also they have to plan how they're going to like come in and what they're going to do first, I guess.
I guess, but yeah.
I don't know how SWAT teams work.
No, I've never had to deal with that
luckily. So Christina and Meredith in the supply closet. And Meredith wants to go out again to help Derek, but Christina's like, we're not going anywhere. And Meredith just pushes her to the floor and runs out to Derek. Like, holy shit. She literally just, like, yeets Christina across the room. Like, get out of here.
Anyone would do that to get to...
Yeah, to be fair,
loved one, wouldn't they?
Yeah, that's a fair reaction.
Oh, it was really horrible, though, when, like, she gets to him, and she's like, you can't die, I chose you, like, all that stuff. That was really heartbreaking to watch.
Yeah.
That hurt a lot to just watch that, and I was like, oof, no, I don't like this.
Yeah. It's
sad.
Because they've been through a lot together. To get together. So, yeah, that would have been so sad. So after that, we have some Teddy and Owen scenes that I don't really care for. They're okay.
Yeah.
They're not great. And then we go outside, and Richard asks the police chief why the only visitors are being evacuated. So Richard, he used to be the chief of surgery, but he had to step down because he was drinking on a job, which is very bad. But so he knows every doctor, and he cares a lot about a hospital. So that's why you're like, Richard's the one talking to the police chief. But he asks about the shooter, and they're like, we don't know anything. And then we start getting access to the 911 calls, which I think was super smart, because we get like a different point of view of what's going on on the outside. Wait, you didn't like it?
No, I said I liked it.
Oh, you liked it.
Yeah, it was really cool.
So we get like a phone call from Christina and from Owen and from Dr. Bailey until they get like a message from like he's looking for Derek, and Derek's been shot. And we also like, it's been Gary Clark. It was Gary Clark. And like, do you know Gary Clark? And Dr. Richard Weber is like, yes, I do. And he decides to go into the hospital, which is dumb. That's a bit ahead. Never mind. So Meredith's by Derek. She's like begging him not to die. And Christina comes over. She called the police. And then like he needs surgery, so she goes to get somebody to help with surgery and to help him get to the OR floor. And then when she goes to get the wheelchair, she sees April just sitting in the floor, crying, doing nothing. April is kind of useless, to be fair.
Yeah, she cried a lot, but she was also, you could tell she was nervous and stuff.
Yeah, she's kind of useless in a way that I know I would also be useless in the same situation.
Yeah, I'd be the exact same. Like, I wouldn't, if there's like obviously I've never been put in that position.
Yeah.
But like, I know if I if it like obviously because like I don't know, like it sounds really weird, but like gun crime here doesn't it happens, but like it's very like low.
Yeah, it's not common.
And it's normally like stuff in like London or stuff like that, or it's really rare to have that happen. Whereas like America has mass shootings, unfortunately, all the time as well.
Yeah,
and like gunmen and stuff. And you always say like, oh yeah, I just do this, but I know that in that situation I would probably just panic and hide.
Same.
But I think she showed the element of what like normal people do. Do you know what I mean? Because I guess like Meredith would run to find the person she loves, but most people would also hide and not do that.
Yeah.
So it kind of showed different ways people handled it, so it's quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they are going to get Derek to the OR so Teddy can operate on him, although they don't know Teddy's not there anymore. And then we cut to Alex thinking he's dying, and he tells like his dying wish is to tell Mark to eat more bacon and have more sex. She's like, just live your life, dude. Like, okay, we're going to do that. So, and they're waiting for Lexi to come back with the supplies, and then we see Lexi wheeling out a cart full of supplies, and she turns a corner, and Gary Clark is in front of her. And like the way she says, "Oh, Mr. Clark," it's like so sad. Cause she was one of his doctors, of his wife's doctors, so she immediately knows who he is and why is he doing this, and she feels sad for him. Which is also so good, because you don't think you'd feel empathy for somebody who's pointing a gun at you.
Yeah.
And wanting to kill you. But she does, because Lexi's amazing. Lexi's also dead. Anyway. That's not on this episode. So he goes on.
Just everyone's dead.
Everyone's dead in this series. He goes on to tell her that he only planned to kill her, Derek Shepard. Well, he says only planned to kill Dr. Weber, Derek Shepard, and then pauses, and you. And like, holy shit, she's going to die, isn't she? Yeah, she's going to die. And then we hear like a gunshot, and she drops to the floor. But it's actually the SWAT that came in and shot Gary Clark on the shoulder. So one thing, did you think? Because like I was so I'm reading some of the description from the Wikipedia, the like fan wiki, and they're like he shot like Gary and like the SWAT team, they fired at the same time. It's like, but he missed. Lexi and the SWAT didn't miss him. I don't think he actually ended up like pulling the trigger. I think the SWAT team was like faster.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
And you guys agree, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm right. So. Of course I'm right. Yeah. Why was I doubting myself?
I don't know. Like yeah, I think you're right, Rita.
Thank you. Thank you for not disagreeing with me. I was being very upset.
I don't really want to disagree with anything because, well, no, not that I do, but because you're such a good, like, you're a fan and you've watched it more, you know more. Like, sometimes you say their names and I'm like, which one was that again? I'm like, which one was that?
Just ask.
That's why I'm quite quiet. Like, I'm like,
it's really more to like, what do you think happened? Because it's not like they clarify later on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but she like rushes away while he's still on the floor, and she goes back into the conference room while Alex is dying. Do you know who Alex is, Chloe?
Yes.
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 And she says she's sorry for what's happening because it's her fault, and she tells Alex that she loves him, which
that's really sad.
Yeah, although knowing the future of Grey's Anatomy, I think that was more like an "I love you," like we're in a very stressful situation, rather than she's in love with him. That's for the future. If we ever come back to it, which we probably don't. No, since you don't like blood, you know what we should do next if we ever come back to Grey's Anatomy? The musical episode.
Yes, I would enjoy that. I'd enjoy a musical episode.
Okay. We'll come back to the musical episode in a few months.
Okay.
Maybe sooner. Who knows? So, Callie in Arizona. Callie is she has black hair. She's the one that was fighting with the blonde lady. And they're lesbians together. That's not true. Callie is bisexual. Anyway, so they're fixing the Ruby, the girl, appendix because it burst, explosion, motion. And like Callie's like looking at Arizona, and there's like, and then she just gets a really scared look on her face. The acting is so good on this show. And then like Arizona turns it around, like Gary Clark is just standing there, bleeding.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, they shot me," and I'm like, "No shit, you're a murderer."
Yeah, you're like you're on a shooting spree, and you're like, they shot me.
Yeah, they shot me. It's like so shocked. Like, what did you think was gonna happen?
Yeah.
And well, Arizona's like panics. So, like, there's only children here, and she covers the little girl, and just keeps repeating that because she panics. And Callie goes up to Gary and hands him bandages, and tells him to leave. He's just like, take them and go. Get the fuck out of here. And he actually does that. He doesn't shoot them.
Very true.
Which I guess, and he also says thank you. He's like, this shows like how crazy he is, kind of, in a way. Because I think she's not doing that out of kindness. She's doing that out of fear.
Yeah.
But to him, she's being kind to him. So it kind of shows like he's clearly not in his best state of mind, in a way. So he leaves, and like Callie calls the police and tells them what happened. He's been shot. April and Christine and Meredith, they get Derek to the OR, and they leave to go find Teddy. Derek is like dying on the table, and he asks Meredith to kiss him, and she does. And then Meredith says he won't die because that would be the worst breakup ever. Which a little bit of humor at death, which is good. That's always good. Then we cut to Bailey packing Charles' gunshot, which is in holding, and she needs to get him to an OR. So they're like putting him on a sheet so they can drag him up, drag him to the OR because he's too heavy for them to move because he's a giant and they're tiny. Miranda Bailey was super short. She's like shorter. She's probably your size, Chloe. And for those who don't know, Chloe's short.
That's rude.
I'm not rude. I'm saying you're short. It's not like I'm tall.
No. I'm like 5 foot. So yeah, she's about 5 foot.
Yeah. So for those who know Chloe, she's as tall as Chloe.
Basically, just short.
She's very short. Yeah. Anyway, April and Christina like walking in the OR floor, like super slowly. And then, like, a door opens and they duck, thinking it's the shooter, but it's not, just Jackson. And Jackson's like, everyone's left.
My heart was beating so fast.
Right?
Like, those scenes, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And Jackson's like, no one's here. And April's like, who's going to operate then? And then he looks at Christina. Christina looks at him. Like, I'm going to do the surgery. Like, yes. Badass. It's amazing. Go get him. So they're in the scrub room. The scrub room is where you clean your hands so you can go slice people up. And Meredith's like trying to like give Christine, like Meredith's trying to give Christine like a pep talk. It's like, you're very good. You can do this. And Christine's like, I'm very good. I can do this, but I can't do this with you in there. So she orders Meredith to stay in the scrub room, sitting down on the floor with her back towards the OR. Which I feel like, yeah, that's a good choice. Because that would be a lot of pressure. To, like, have your best friend look at you while you're trying to save her husband.
Yeah.
That would not be a good combination.
Like, I felt so bad because obviously she's like, right, this is my best friend, her husband's dying, I need to save him. and obviously, like, it's so like there's so many emotions for her. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So we cut to the conference room. Alex is calling out for Izzy. Izzy's his ex-wife who left him.
Yeah.
And she says he's sorry, and I like asks her not to go, and like Lexi like says, pretends to be her, and is like, yeah, I'm not going anywhere, and like I'm happy you came back, which is so sad.
It was sad, and she's like, don't leave me ever again.
Yeah, and she's like, I won't. I'm not leaving you. And then the member of SWAT comes in and evacuates them,
which is nice. Yeah,
which is to tell the audience this is almost over. Yeah, not to worry.
People are getting rescued now, sort of thing. Yeah.
So outside, we get Richard to confirm Gary Clark with a photo, like say it's him, so they know for sure that it's Gary Clark, and also that they ordered the elevators to shut down so they can isolate him, so he's not moving constantly. Although the place has stairs, so I'm not sure how effective that would be.
He just go down the stairs instead.
Like, come on. But but the elevator thing is important for later down the episode, so that's why. Again, this show is amazing. Also, Teddy and Owen arrive outside with their patient, who's taken by the paramedics to another like place or whatever. And then Owen realizes that Christina's still in there. So Teddy like body blocks an officer, and like Owen just runs back inside. And then we also see Richard walking down the tunnels. So the police is so good that anyone can just go back in.
Just go back in. He just walks back in. He's like, "What's going on?" And they're like, "Oh, this is happening." He's like, "Okay, bye. Go back in."
Bye now. It's like, what now? Come back. So then we cut back to the OR, to the scrub room, where Meredith's like telling April like, "Stop crying." Which a bit insensitive, Meredith. Calm down.
Like, stop crying. Stop crying.
Like, he's my husband. Why are you crying? Yeah. And then April's like, her best friend was killed today. And they hold hands. They support each other.
Yeah.
Which is good. Again, Reed was a bit of a bitch, though. I did not like Reed.
No.
So, to be fair, Reed, Charles, Jackson, and April, they joined the cast that season because of a merger with another hospital, so they were pretty new.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're super attached to them, you know?
Yeah.
But still sad. Yeah. And April and Jackson, they became like really important parts of the cast later on, so. But still, nobody cares about Reed. So we're back outside with Mark and Lexi been evacuated, and they put Alex on the ambulance. And she asks Teddy if he's going to be okay, and Teddy's like doesn't reply and just get on the ambulance, which rude. Give her a bit of hope. And then we cut back to Christina operating on Derek with Jackson. She locates the bullet right next to the aorta, which is like in the heart. I'm not going to explain this because, let's be honest, I don't know.
Yeah.
And she has two options to do, and she asks herself, pig or cow. Were you confused by that?
A bit. I was like...
She's like, pig or cow, Christina, pig or cow.
Yeah, but I didn't really get it.
What about you, Tim?
I didn't get it.
Right, so that's a comeback from an earlier episode where she's doing a heart surgery, and she has to decide whether to use a pig valve or a cow valve.
So I thought it'd be something about like insides. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I didn't really get it. Yeah.
And like Teddy used that like a teaching moment. And
to
teach her, like basically just asking like what's the best option for the patients, pig or cow, and then she goes with I can't remember if it's pig or cow. But she does, and she like does it, and she's great. And Jackson calls her badass, and Jackson is right. Christina Yang is badass.
Yeah.
So we cut from that to Bailey and Mary dragging Charles back to the elevator. I told you the elevator is going to be important. To get him to an ER, and when they get there, the elevator isn't working. So Bailey just starts screaming to turn him back on. She has a full-on breakdown. Because without getting him to the OR, she won't be able to save him. And she just sits down, puts his head on her lap, and then he asks, "I'm dying, aren't I?" And she says, "Yes, you're going to die."
Yeah.
And that's so sad. That's really sad. And also, to make it worse, he asks Bailey to tell Reed that he loved her. But Reed is already dead. And he doesn't know.
That's kind of sad.
Yeah.
That's sad. I don't like that.
This show is...
That was really sad, that bit.
This show is brutal. I love it.
Not good. Not good. Not good.
It's good. It's very good. It's great. It's amazing.
So
we go back to the OR. Owen comes in to the scrub room, and Meredith tells him what's going on.
Yeah.
And we see him look into the OR, and he looks a bit weird.
Yeah.
And she says she thinks that Christina might need help. And I was like, yeah, just stay here, and I'll see what I can do to help. And she asks, and he just starts going. She asks him, "Aren't you going to scrub in?" He's like, "I'm just going to see what's going on, and then I'll scrub in if Christina needs me." And he goes in, and we see that Gary is aiming at Christina's head and telling her to stop operating. Which, again, a holy shit moment.
Yeah,
holy shit.
It's like, you're like this whole episode's like, I don't know.
Because, you're starting to, the SWAT is evacuating people, Alex is going to the hospital, starting to go, starting to end. And then, boom, Gary's in the OR telling Christina to stop operating, otherwise he's going to shoot her.
Yeah.
And she's crying her eyes out and saying, I can't stop. And, crying for Owen.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. And then Owen, of course, Owen doesn't help because, if you touch her, I'm going to kill you. It's don't threaten the murderer. I don't feel like that's going to help Owen.
Yeah, don't threaten the guy who's got the gun, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so Gary's I only want to kill Derek. Just let him die. And then Meredith comes into the OR. And she says that's her way. She's his way to get justice. Because Lexi, she pulled the plug. That's her sister. Richard was the wife's doctor. She's the closest thing he'll have to a daughter. Derek is her husband. And if she wants to hurt him all the way he got hurt, he has to shoot her.
Yeah.
So Gary points his gun at her.
Yeah, I didn't like that bit.
Yeah.
I don't... Meredith, she's she has a lot of issues. A lot of issues. So it's crazy, I don't think that's something I would be able to do.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd have the courage to do that.
No.
I don't know. It's crazy. But it makes for great television. So then Christina's you wouldn't shoot, she's pregnant. You wouldn't shoot a pregnant woman. And Owen tries to jump on Gary, and Gary shoots him, and he falls to the floor. And Jackson's brilliant in this. She says, to Christina's, trust him and to raise their hands, because he's going to shoot again. So they raise their hands, and Derek's heart stops, or so you think.
Yeah.
And so the heart stops, and Meredith falls to the floor, sobbing. Gary lowers his gun.
Really sad moment.
Yeah. Gary lowers his gun. Christina's it's over. And he leaves, and then Jackson reconnects the monitors, and they continue the surgery.
Yeah.
So basically, they only
cool.
the wires that I touched, like the sensors they put like in the chest and stuff, he pulled them out. So that's why it looked like Derek was dead. But no.
Yeah.
It was just Jackson being smart.
It was quite a cool moment because they were being smart, yeah.
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 And then,
also, it wasn't just well, we let him die and just miraculously pull him back from death.
Yeah.
Just them being smart. He was alive the whole time.
Yeah, he was alive. They were just tricking him. And then I like the bit that's like sad coming up is like obviously Meredith starts to get like the pain and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Christina asks.
Like, oh, yeah.
Christina asks Meredith to check if Owen's dead, and she goes over to him and says no. So they take Owen to another OR to remove the bullet.
Yeah.
And while they're like evaluating the damage on his shoulder, she starts to feel pain.
Yeah.
And then April's like, "Were you shot as well? What's wrong?"
Yeah, and then but it's blood going down her thighs, and then she says, "I'm having a miscarriage."
Yeah, because like she starts saying like, "I'm fine, I'm fine."
Yeah, she's like, "This is what I need," and she just says, "This is what you need to go get me," and it's a really sad moment.
Yeah, it was really sad.
She was so happy at the start,
yeah,
and she hasn't, and then she's lost her baby, and her husband's dying.
Yeah.
So I mean, like it was devastating to watch. It was horrible.
Yeah. Meredith is like, she's gone so much tragedies on this show, and she's always like the most calm person through it. It's kind of crazy. Also, it's sad because like later on, they tried to have another baby, and she has trouble conceiving because her uterus is hostile.
Yeah.
But they end up adopting a baby, an adorable baby, called Zola.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is like, holy shit. It's another like, holy shit. You didn't think that. But again, yeah, it's so sad. Yeah. So then we cut to Richard entering ICU, and we see that doctor on the floor, and he finds Gary sitting by himself in an empty room. And Gary says he's been looking for him, and Richard's like, same. And Gary says that 5 days ago he bought the gun at a superstore. So they don't mention like a specific store.
They don't mention a store, but it's crazy to think like a superstore is like a supermarket here.
It's probably like it's superstore, like
it's Tesco.
Huge, like an Asda kind of thing, like those huge Asdas. Type of stuff.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm guessing they didn't like use Walmart so they wouldn't get sued.
Yeah, because obviously they can't use anywhere because, you know.
Yeah. And then he bought a whole bunch of ammunition because it was on sale. Yeah. And then in the morning, when he was preparing to leave, he didn't have enough room in his pockets because he wanted to bring his flask. And so and like he offers you the flask like Richard, and he opens it.
Richard's like, no.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm not much of a drinker. Gary also says like, I'm not much of a drinker, but he thought he would need the courage.
But he said he didn't need it until now.
Yeah.
And the reason he needs it is because he's got 1 bullet left.
And he was going to shoot Richard.
Yeah, and watch him suffer
and die, and then he was going to shoot himself.
Yeah.
But there's only 1 bullet left. And Richard said, Richard's like, you have a problem.
Turn off.
That's when you turned it off. Yeah.
So basically, like, up until the part, I turned it off because I was like, so Richard's like, okay, you can either shoot me, and then you go to prison, and you're gonna, you know, spend the rest of your life in prison, or you can shoot yourself,
and maybe you'll see your wife.
Go be with your wife in the afterlife. And then I like personally, so all this other stuff had gone on, and I was like crying at this point. I'm not gonna lie, I cried.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't watch this anymore because they'd been quite, like, they've been very graphic with the shootings and stuff they had. And I was like, I don't really want to see another one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, right, and I turned it off, and then I had to go on Google and look at the rest because I was like, no, I can't watch this. But it was up to that point. Like, obviously, the episodes that I'd watched were really good.
Yeah.
And I was sad. It just makes me sad, really.
Yeah.
But
so basically, we do like. So we don't technically we don't know what happens, but we can imagine what happens because they talk a bit more, and Richard's like, "I'm not afraid to die."
Yeah.
And then the SWAT team enters the ICU, and we hear a gunshot coming from the room where they are.
So you don't see anyone die. Okay.
We don't see anyone die. So we don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it's heavily implied that Gary shot himself, but technically we don't know if like it was a SWAT team or if he tried to shoot Richard but failed.
Yeah.
So, because we never speak of Gary Clark again after this.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we go back to Christina finishing the surgery, and Meredith like holding Derek's head, and his heart stops for a bit, but Christina like manages to bring him back. At Seattle Press, Mark and Lexi, they're in the ICU where Teddy finished the surgery and Alex still alive. We also see Mary leave the hospital and like finding her husband and like hug each other. And we see Bailey Bailey asking a police officer about Reed because she doesn't know that she's died yet.
Yeah.
We then see Callie in Arizona watch the ambulance with Ruby's the kid that had the appendix. Leave, and then Arizona go see if their kids that need to find help finding their parents. And Callie stop her, and they do like a whole speech of like people died today, and like I don't want to be without you, even if that means that we don't have kids, because the whole problem was that Arizona didn't want kids, but Callie wanted kids, and Arizona like says no, we're gonna have a whole bunch of kids, and then like I love you, I can live without you, and they get together again.
It was kind of like the last, like the summing. So like, it was really weird. So like, what was it? What was it? It was like, it feels like, I don't know how you're explaining it. Like, so like, there's such a lot of stuff happening, and then it suddenly like stops.
Yeah.
And then it like the people going back. Do you know what I mean?
Wait, say it again, because like, it kind of stopped.
So like the episode was really like hard hitting and like so much tension.
Yeah.
And then obviously once that final gunshot goes off and you see the SWAT team go in, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Then it's like all them like kind of coming to terms, and all the problems that were happening before are kind of being resolved.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's like everyone's just like winding down and like reuniting back together and realizing that you've been through like a really traumatic
experience. Yeah.
After like the Arizona and Callie stuff, we cut back to like Derek's heart returning to normal, and Christina's like relieved, and like she exhales, and like everyone's like super relieved and happy. And then we have Richard like shaking hands with the police chief over the bridge. And there's like people taking photos of like the blood for like evidence and stuff.
Yeah.
And the last scene we have, it's in the residence locker room. Meredith goes to find the pregnancy test in her locker, and Christina like appears in the doorway and like says Derek's asking for her, and like Meredith throws the pregnancy test in the trash can.
That's really
and like
sad.
follows Christina outside, and that's the end of the episode.
That's really sad.
It is, yeah. That's it. That's two of like the most intense episodes of Grey's Anatomy, possibly TV ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was funny, so.
I mean, I've watched this show 15 times. I would watch it again, including these episodes.
Yeah. I think if I watched it from season 1, like episode 1, and I could eventually get past like all the blood and stuff, like I think I'd be able to watch it properly.
Yeah.
But obviously just coming into it and watching it was quite like a shock.
Yeah.
But it was really good, and I really like how it was filmed and stuff like that. And I think it's good that they kind of made an episode on the subject. But it's just not for me personally, like what I normally watch. But yeah, it was really good.
And like, so the following season they do deal with like PTSD.
Yeah.
Of this happening, especially Christina.
Yeah.
She has like a really hard time dealing with everything. So it's
Which
not
is
like
good that they cover that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like they just there was a shooting like the next
and then,
episode.
Yeah.
And then you see them like everyone's just fine.
Yeah. That's good that it covers that. I think it's a good thing for a show to do. It's not just like kind of forgets that it ever happened sort of thing.
Yeah. Like Grey's Anatomy, to be fair, they're pretty good at keeping up with stuff. Sometimes like it does happen, like especially in the latest seasons, like didn't this happen? Like what about this?
Yeah.
But especially in the beginning, they're really good, like keeping continuity and keeping stuff that happened in the past relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's really good. It's amazing.
Were you happy that we've covered it on this is probably our longest podcast, I have to say.
Yeah, this is our longest one so far. Which is probably my fault. But it's fine. Everything's fine.
I enjoyed it. I've been a sip of my drink. Normally I prepare a drink. And I never drink it. I've had to drink it because we've been talking for so long.
Yeah.
So I just drank my drink. Yeah. But no, I really enjoyed it. It was very different to what we've done before.
Yeah.
And what we've watched. Like what we've watched previously have been like quite not childish, but like
very light in a way.
Light, yeah, very light, and this was quite dark.
Yeah.
So I think for us to cover this on the podcast was quite good and interesting.
Yeah. I do have like 3 bits of trivia. Very small things.
I do enjoy your trivia. Go on.
So, a bit of trivia about the whole show is that every single episode is named after a song.
Okay,
so
that's cool.
The Sanctuary is a song by Iron Maiden. And then Tim, I think you like this one. Death and All His Friends, Coldplay.
Yes.
Oh.
Tim really likes Coldplay.
So.
Am I right? Really or did I dream that? You like Coldplay, right, Tim?
Love Coldplay.
Yeah. I don't.
That's cool. I like
They're
that.
Okay.
So they've done, was it 16 seasons you've said?
17.
17 all named after songs.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
The first ever episode is A Hard Day's Night, which is a Beatles song.
Oh.
So yeah, they've done all kinds of shit. It's great.
Yeah.
During Meredith and Christina's talk about Christina being the baby's godmother, Christina asks, if you and Derek are in a plane crash and die, the kid is mine. And 2 seasons later, Meredith and Derek are on the plane crash with Christina and Arizona and Mark and Lexi.
Oh god.
Yeah, and Mark and Lexi die during the plane crash. If you think this is sad,
stop.
Mark and Lexi during the plane crash. Holy shit.
Why does everyone have to die?
Holy shit. Yeah, the gun held by Gary Clark was actually a real gun, but modified to be safer. Yes. And Teddy Altman, she was the only one that did not see the shooter. Everyone else saw her,
really?
Except her.
Oh.
And she's the one that was actually in the military. Plus the one, but whatever. That's my trivia. So, out of 10 Amigos. So I'm completely biased. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. You guys are less biased.
Yeah.
So I'll give it a 10.
Well, Tim.
Oh. Tim's like in there with I'm a 10. I'm gonna have to give it an 8 out of 10 Amigos. Purely because I didn't obviously get through it. That's my personal opinion, but I did enjoy it, and I did like how it was filmed, and I liked some of the characters. Do you know what I mean? I did like it.
Yes.
But obviously I can't really give it higher than an 8 because I don't really know.
That's fair.
Like the whole what's it called? Like the whole back, but how it was shot I can't say it, cinematically.
Yes.
How it was shot, how it was written. Like I like the bit at the start where in the first part with her like monologue.
Yeah.
I liked how they did do like quite they obviously did their research and stuff. So yeah, it's an 8 out of 10 amigos for Chloe today.
Okay, so that's 9.333333 out of 10.
Ooh. Yes.
So, on the leaderboard.
Yeah.
They would technically put it at the top.
Oh.
Above WandaVision.
Oh.
However,
I don't think it's above WandaVision though.
We reviewed WandaVision as a whole series.
Yeah.
If we were to review Grey's Anatomy as a whole series, it is not as good as WandaVision. They're also very different. They're obviously very different types of shows.
Yeah.
But especially later seasons, the quality really did decline, in my opinion. So
I think this episode,
yes,
is that, but not the series. So maybe below WandaVision.
But above The Incredibles? Would you guys be okay with that?
Oh, yeah.
Yes?
Tim?
Yeah.
Yeah? Great. I love this. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Again, it's hard to compare Grey's Anatomy to The Incredibles. Like, they have literally nothing in common.
Nothing in common, yeah.
But in terms and again, we're different people. In terms of rewatching it, I will rewatch Grey's Anatomy every day in my life. I mean, I'm rewatching it again, so after this episode.
What, from the start?
You should try the first episode.
I'm going to watch the first episode.
The first episode, I don't think the first episode has anything super gory.
Yeah. I'm just not into gory stuff. I'm quite a wimp. I like light and fluffy. That's how my life is.
Yeah.
That's all I can do with. Everything else I might know, but
yeah.
So we also need to find something else that we're going to watch.
That's what I was going to say. What we're doing next?
I think we should do a film because we've done some TV shows.
Yeah.
We've done films actually as well, so I don't really.
That's true.
Yeah.
I know, Tim, you wanted to do Modern Family, but I think we could save Modern Family for later on because not all of the seasons are on Disney Plus right now, I think.
No.
So I think we should save that for later on. Should we do a Disney animated classic?
Yeah. Let's do an animated film.
Which one, though?
This is the part of the podcast we always forget to like plan ahead. What about? I don't know. I'm searching through.
I mean, if we're thinking about Disney animated classics, we have Snow White, we have Dumbo, we have Fantasia, we have Alice in Wonderland, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella.
I think Tim should choose because we've chose the last two.
Okay, Tim.
Go on, Tim.
Yeah.
Choose one. What else we have? Then we can get on to the Renaissance of Disney, where we have The Little Mermaid, we have Rescues Down Under, we have Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin,
Sorry.
The Lion King, Pocahontas, Shrek is not Disney, Chloe.
No, I just clicked the wrong trailer. Apologies.
So yeah, Tim, pick one.
I think we should do The Lion King.
The Lion King. Good.
Yeah.
The Lion King. And to be very precise, The Lion King, the animated version, 1994, not the piece of shit that they released in live action in quotes.
Do not hate on the live
action in quotes that they released 2 years ago. That film was garbage. Garbage.
No, stop.
I'm sorry.
The 1994 version is a classic. I love it. It's my favorite.
I do not love it. It's not my favorite. It is 115 times better than that piece of shit that they released.
No, it's
2
not
years
a piece
ago.
of shit. I love
it
the
is.
chapter live action. We will just,
it's just a very much. It's just a much worse version of the animated.
I love how we had a few weeks where we agreed, and now straight away we're like, no.
Chloe, the live action one is garbage. Garbage.
No.
There's nothing great about it.
We should end this podcast now.
Yes, otherwise we'll go even longer.
Even longer. But no, thank you for listening. This is the longest podcast, so thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to me saying Grey's Anatomy, it's so good 1,500 times.
Rita's fangirl. We should title this basically the episode that Rita loves the most.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be a great title. So that was it. That was...
I can't speak.
Sorry.
Follow us on social... No, it wasn't you. I just asked on all our social medias. Give us a like, a subscribe.
Also, this is our 10th episode. I'm just realized now.
Oh my god, that's gone really quick.
10 episodes of the Three Amigos, huh? Look at that.
10. Big double digits now.
Double digits.
Yeah.
We're doing great.
I wonder how many viewers we get there. It's great.
It's great. It's amazing. Anyway, thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.